Welcome all of you from the core of my heart. I believe you are young entrepreneurs and I think full of life and full of youth and full of energy. Obviously, in your own right, you are leading lights in different walks of life. I'm very happy to meet you this evening and I thank Mr. Vani for organizing this meeting. I'll be looking forward to a wonderful discussion this evening.
So, Bismillah Rahman Rahim, sir. Basically, sir, this was decided just to bring entrepreneurs from different sectors to come and interact with you and to share their views, and you can share your vision with them. What you think about the governance, the business strategies, and the future of this province and the future of Pakistan. So I also welcome them, sir. And the format is, sir, first you will share what you believe in your governance model, and for Punjab and Pakistan, 15 minutes your discussion, and then we will have an interactive dialogue with them, sir.
I think I'm deeply relieved that this is a very small group as compared to what I had to face at an engineering university a few weeks ago. 4,000 boys and girls. Didn't know from Adams, all of them. Of course, our children, and I was, exposed to, I think, the most toughest of Q&A. The fact that I came back in one piece was, I think, very gratifying. I think today we are all, I think, very anxious about Pakistan's well-being and Pakistan's future. I'm one of those who's always, optimist about things, regardless of how difficult things are. But I do share this general view that we are going through the most difficult time of our history. There are no two opinions about it. And if ever this, quote was relevant, it's today that Pakistan is passing through a very difficult time. And I must say in real earnest that this is no foreign, pressure or extraneous factor. It's all our own doing. Over the span of 64 years, if you look at our, balance sheet, be it political dispensations or military regimes, we have not lived up to the expectation of the people of Pakistan. And this yawning gap between the people and the rulers has been increasing, each time. Either we elected a government through public votes or dictator imposed himself on this country. So this has led to a very, very difficult situation. People have lost faith in political leaders. People have lost faith in military rulers. And I think this is our collective failure of our wisdom and of our analysis, how we wanted Pakistan to move forward as a client state, as a country trying to rely on foreign doles and handouts. Which was the last time that any country stood on its feet through foreign assistance, through aids, and through grants? I think you consult any success story in contemporary history, be it China and other countries. They had to work overtime. They had to sweat. They had to labor and commit untiring efforts to become a society from a beggar to a chooser. And I think there are many examples. China is one of the most shining example of self-reliance, China is today the second largest economy in the world. They have left Japan behind. And Japan and Germany are two countries which were totally annihilated during Second World War. But they did not, you know, sort of weep or moan at their defeat. They converted their defeat into hard work, honesty of purpose, untiring efforts, sacrifice, and touched the zenith of glory within 50 years. Look at South Korea. General Park 40 years ago, imposed martial law, gagged voices, put thousands of people behind the bars, but laid a very sound economic foundation. Now, if martial laws were to be the recipe for progress and happiness, then we had four martial laws in this country. We should have been four times more prosperous than South Korea. But that is not, I think, the answer. I think the answer to the question is it is all about vision of the leadership. So I think in China it is a regimented system. South Korea transformed from a military-led, rule to democracy. So it is all about leadership, whether it's Chinese leadership or South Korean leadership. And here we had experienced failures after failures, setbacks after setbacks, because of lack of accountability, because of very weak institutions. This is a very quick, brief of what has happened in the last 64 years. But coming to today's issue, corruption has been found in all governments. It's only a question of variance in degree. Some governments have been more conscious of controlling corruption. Some promoted corruption. And it is equally true about political dispensations and military regimes. Only for a brief period, immediately after Pakistan came to being at a very, very high cost, a dream that we will be free from the yoke of Hindu or British Raj, and we will find a piece of land where the coin of the day would be honesty of purpose, hard work, equality, justice, and fair play. It's, I think, all lost under tons of heaps of corruption and mismanagement and misgovernance. But I will tell you very frankly that the last 4 years, I as a student of political history, and of course in politics since 1988, as I said, we were part of all these dispensations. But I have yet to come across a government more corrupt, more incensed to public reactions, and totally devoid of sense, good sense, and direction, and have no feelings for Pakistan's well-being. This is mind-boggling. I have not seen more galloping corruption than today. I have not seen more misgovernance than today. I have not seen a coterie of people who have no feelings for the common man, and do not take into account any kind of criticism. Sharp criticism, medium criticism in print media, in electronic media, or censures of high courts or supreme courts. Have no respect for judicial process, and want to, unfortunately, I have to say, want to destroy whatever is left of Pakistan. I don't want to call them traitors at all. No, I think that would be a very, very harsh comment. I just want to say that I can't understand, I can't comprehend, cannot reconcile that can this happen in this country, that through people's vote, through people's support, they have left the people on their own to face the vagaries of weather and muddy waves of life. And therefore, I think if I say, to conclude, and then I'll take up your questions, and try to answer them as best as I can, that Pakistan today is in total darkness. 4 years gone, and unprecedented outages of power. Had they, committed themselves, I'll give you one example. Had they pursued power generation through charcoal, and as you know, I'm sure you know, all of you know very well, that charcoal has the biggest reservoir of coal all over the world. It can, per se, generate thousands and thousands and thousands of megawatts, in years to come. Of course, it will not happen overnight. It will take time. But during these 4 years, if they had dedicated themselves to generate power based on coal, today I can say safely that 3,000-4,000 megawatts would have been, I think, a job done through their left hand. And I think you are aware of this fact, that if this vicious circular debt is resolved, even by to the tune of 50%, today it has touched the figure of 500 billion rupees, which is $5 billion. If half of it is met, through payments, even by printing notes, overnight you will get 3,000 to 4,000 megawatts on your system. So I think what I'm saying is that we are responsible for all this decay. We are responsible for all this mess, and only we can find sustainable solutions. Nobody else will come to your rescue. I think this is, ladies and gentlemen, the sum total of my very brief opening gambit. I'm very grateful to you for joining me this evening, and I look forward to a very wonderful discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. You came here and you gave your time, your precious time to us. My question is that when I started my business, I faced lots of issues. One of them you talked about that is load shedding, very well. And second is internet issue. At startup you have very low budget, you have very low finance. A student especially cannot afford this issue. We have solution of brains or some other, but they are very expensive. And third issue is, CM Saab, is very important, is PayPal issue. Whenever whenever a student or a small IT entrepreneurship earns an income, he cannot have PayPal account in Pakistan. Thank you very much.
जी, बहुत शुक्रिया आपका माजिद साहब। लोड शेडिंग तो बात मैंने कर दी, और इंटरनेट की बात की। PTCL, आपको इल्म है कि ये इट्स अ फेडरल एंटिटी।
Thank you, sir, for giving all of us an opportunity to talk to you, and we really appreciate it. And if I may request, I think I would go beyond just dedicating one floor and maybe extend that to smaller companies and make it affordable for them. Thank you.
So I think let us make it as an integral part of contractual obligation that a certain percentage of the business will be given to them.
My suggestion that we need to invest on increasing the number of productive people. Through these incubations, through training programs, which is fantastic. And we agree to that. I would encourage that the private sector engagement. This is one good initiative that you have just mentioned, that you need to trust local companies and you need to engage them to leverage on their capacity, and you need to believe them in order to make them your partner in success. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think I totally agree with you.
There is often talk of people not able to get visas to visit the United States, and that thing crimps our business and so on and so forth. I'd like to tell you about our situation where it's very difficult for us to, for our US executives to visit Pakistan.
It's very important. Yes, Dr. Mehta.
So we do help local businesses sometimes deal with the federal government. I am the head of Punjab Board of Investment and Trade, and if there is any issue that you want for your employees, foreign employees, to come to Pakistan, consult with us, and we will help you with the federal government as well.
इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे आई वुड से अगर हम लोग कोई ऐसा सेटअप या कोई ऐसी चीज सेटअप कर सकें जो विच कैन एक्ट एज अ लाइजन जो यंग एंटरप्रेन्योर्स जो यहाँ के हैं उनको बाहर के साथ कनेक्ट करे और बाहर को यहाँ पे समथिंग लाइक एक्सचेंज प्रोग्राम्स या कोई इस तरह की चीज बिकॉज दिस इज जो मैंने अपने उन पे किया है और ये बाकियों को पता लगे तो बहुत अच्छा होगा. थैंक यू.
Thank you very much.
मैं आपसे ये बस शेयर करना चाहा था कि that is a very we went against South America, we went against India, and we managed to bring all that business to Punjab.
I'm very happy to hear that.
So I was just curious if you have any plans for setting up perhaps some sort of a public fund to support these venture capitalists. And it doesn't have to be a grant. It could actually be something that is done in exchange for equity in these companies.
See, that's something that we vacillated on for quite a bit.
I think this meeting has been very useful, very productive, and I will encourage Dr. Mehta and Dr. Saab, Umar Sahib to come up with a plan whereby if our export is still hovering around $200 million as compared to India's $60 billion. I mean, look at this. So, I mean, obviously, we can't catch them overnight, but if we can start walking in that direction, slowly but surely. So I think this is a very, very important meeting from that angle. And if Government of Punjab can become catalyst, we can support their efforts in whatever way. That is where I think our IT department would really aim at. It's it should be a coordination. Government of Pakistan, Punjab is a catalyst supporting the faculties, the campuses, and these IT labs and software and Wi-Fi, etc. And then, agriculture, our industry. This is how it should be like a triangle. And I think we should come up with a plan very, very quickly. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. It's been really an honor and pleasure meeting you.